How about we wind a few balls together? I have been filming some videos all along that basically have the, sorry about hitting the camera. Basically that I've been going through a lot of my totes. You know, Cheryl of Vixen Purple and Crochet, she did the series going through her totes, and I thought, while I'm moving, I need to see what's in my totes. So, kind of going through that and starting to fill out the notebook that tells me what's in all the totes. But in the meantime, I found a bunch of things that need to be wound up into skeins, or cakes anyway. So I thought we would do that this afternoon, and you'll see those other videos as we go along. But I do need to get some of these things wound up, so I'm just going to start winding up a couple of cakes. I thought I'd take you along on a journey. The bamboo, for the most part, there's still bamboo that needs to be cut, and I'm still, fighting with the bamboo and cutting the bamboo, and that in itself is a journey on its own, and it's not a pleasant one, but it has to be done. So yeah, I have been working on that, as well as going through the house, going through some boxes of things. Some of the stuff, that Thomas had that were more related to his university and to his research. I've gotten all that, gotten most of it put up online where it needs to be. Do not need to keep any more of the hard copies, because that's a lot of wasted space, and it's not something that I'm going to do. I'm not going to do any further research in it, so there's no point in me keeping it on hand. I did run into a little bit of a dilemma. Like I said, Izzy, stop. Where I wasn't real sure what to do with his. Let me get this yarn away from the cat. She's being a little bit of a terror today. Where I ran into his degrees, don't know what to do with them. They were important. They were more important to him than they are to me, and I don't really know what to do with them. I did have a friend tell me that I really should hang on to them for a while, that at some point I may come up with an idea of what to do with those. I had someone else suggest that I look into seeing if they did any kind of displays at, like, the geology library at the university or anything like that, if they might want them. And to be honest, this university is going more to a digital online. I don't know that it will be here, with the exception of, because they have a big, what is it? What do they call it? It's like Parks and Recreation. They've got some kind of crazy degree for it. They have one in criminal justice. But their biggest thing is they do have a PA program. Now, they used to be what was called the School for Normal, which basically is training people to be teachers and social workers. But some of those programs aren't as well studied here in this area. They do have a PA program, which I understand goes really well, so I would imagine they're going to do anything, they would hang on to that PA program more than they would some of the other programs that they had. And I think I've gotten to the end of this, and I think I will end this cake here. So let me get the thing untaped and start another cake. I just tried to use the blues with this one. Tried to keep the theme in the blues with the blue stripes, those kind of things, gray. So that one is ready to go. And I have here another different shades of blue that, well, it's the same shade, but it's two different balls. So I'll join those together into one. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I have gotten rid of a lot of things that I don't use. Sold quite a few of some of the other things that I've had in the past. They were hobbies that I had done, craft hobbies. So those have all been sold. The only other thing that I have left is the polymer clay. So I'm thinking about listing those to sell the polymer clay and all the tools and things. I did a couple of that and I did enjoy it, but that was something that Thomas had thought that he wanted to do. So, I mean, he got all kinds of tools, you know, like the pasta maker. Well, it's a clay roller. He got that. He got all the different textures, cutting tools, things to make beads, to make all kinds of things. But then he never did anything with it, which don't get me wrong, I love Thomas, but that was something that he would do a lot of. He would gather a lot of things and then not ever do anything with it. He thought he would get into the hobby, then didn't. Did the same thing with paint by numbers. Those I was able to give to a craft group for Alzheimer's. So I was able to give all of those paintings away for that. So that was a good thing. And yeah. But the polymer clay, I haven't figured out what to do with it. I do know that I had contacted them and asked them if they would be interested in the polymer clay. They are not, because otherwise I would have just sent them that way. But since they're not interested in it, you know, there's no sense in sending it that way. But like I said, I'm thinking maybe I'll just list it, sell it. Who knows? Unless I can find a group that wants it. I did find a group in, I think, Center Hall that took a lot of the, when I was hoping to make the bingo gifts for the senior bingos, senior circle bingos, I had a lot of wreaths that I had left over that I really didn't have anywhere to go, but I did find a woman in Center Hall that works with a 4-H group where they make wreaths as part of one of their activities. So I was able to get those wreaths to her so that they could be used for that. And she took some of the flowers, she took some of the other things that I had that were basically just small little things that I thought could be used in that craft, and so she did take those. So that was a good way to get rid of that. And plus it went to a good cause for those kids, you know, to make wreaths and learn something, a different kind of home decorating skill. So, yeah, there was that. That did go that way. But, yeah. And then I found a bunch of things that I used to do when I was doing rug hooking. And did find a group that took most of those. But I did sell the rug hooking frame that I had because I don't see me getting back into rug hooking. I did enjoy it when I was doing it, but it was something that just found I didn't have a lot of skill for. Let's put it that way. So that I did sell like I said, the rug hooking frame. Do have a couple of quilt frames, hand quilting frames that I'd put up listed. I'm just not interested in hand quilting anymore. I do enjoy quilting with the sewing machine, so I do quilt that way, but I don't do the hand quilting. I did find that I don't like it. The other thing too is with my carpal tunnel and everything else, I found that using fine needles for sewing, my hands will cramp up really badly. And so that was not a good look, let's just put it that way. So I did stop doing that and have moved on from that. But yeah, things are coming along. I'm getting things cleared out that I should have cleared out the first time when I moved. But they're getting cleared out now. And yeah, that's a good thing. And sometimes we just do things backwards, right? That's exactly how I did it, backwards. I have been seeing a lot of the Taylor Swift dress out there. A lot of folks have been doing that as a pattern. And I'm like, okay, you know, it's Granny Square dress shirt, if you want to call it that. I've done those in the past. Not interested in doing another one, but I do understand why it is all the rage. Although we're seeing a lot of strange fashions come back into play. You know, our VP turned presidential candidate, she still wears the shoulder pads. So I would imagine that's going to be another thing that's going to be big this year. And I always thought that was a stupid look. But, you know, whatever. Fashions come and go, don't they? And sometimes some of the fashions that are out there, we just kind of go, why, Lord, why? You know? So, yeah, I think that's a rather interesting fashion. It's not one that I would recommend for most people. It's not a good look. So, yeah. But, you know, I keep waiting for the crazy hairstyles to come back. You know, the big bouffants and the big hair. Or as we always teased, growing up in Texas hair. Because Texas always has big hair. Texas has a lot of things that are big. But that used to be a big thing with the hair. You know, lots of hairspray and gel. Yeah. And I can remember the days when my boys used a lot of hairspray. In fact, they used more hairspray than I ever used. So, And I still tease my boys about that, about how much hairspray they went through. But you know, it was important for them to have that hair just so. And I often wondered if the fawns, you know, with that greased hair, if this was just a different rendition of that. Probably was, right? So yeah, but I just find fashion kind of funny. You know, how we go back and forth between the fashions. And I don't know why we do it. You know, sometimes it just scares me, going back to some of these fashions. And then, of course, you know, my favorite is sharing all those videos of some of the crazy fashions that we're seeing on the runway. But I just hope we don't ever get to the point where we think that that's not a must and that we all need to wear those kind of fashions, because you're not going to see me in them. Just not going to do it. I've got a tote over here to the other side that I'm putting the balls in, because otherwise Izzy will grab the ball if it lands on the floor and take off running with it. And so I got to stop her from doing that, and this is the only way I can figure to stop her from doing it, is by doing that. Don't you like that neon green? Neon green. That neon orange? What is that, hunter orange? Found a big ball of that, so that needs to be wound up. Mixed in with another orange. But some of these colors that we have, crazy, crazy. And that I have been having fun going through these totes, finding some of the colors that I've had in the past that I used a lot of. I mean, I seriously used a lot of those crazy colors. So yeah, here's another one. And I don't remember what this is called. I don't know if it's neon green or lime green or... Actually, I should look. This is soft green. This is the Stitch Studio Classic Soft Green. So yeah, that's going to go in there, and then I have another green. It'll go behind it. This is darker green, which I think might be a mainstay green. Might not be. And I know I enjoyed some of the videos that Crystal from back in the day had put together. They were where she had taken and made cakes based on different pictures, different art, and I did find that interesting. Do find those kind of cakes fun to play with, and yeah, I would imagine that is quite a bit fun to do. Figure out if you can create a palette with a yarn cake that is reminiscent of a piece of artwork. Of course, one of my favorite ones she did was the Van Gogh's Starry Night. I think that's always such a beautiful painting. So that was fun to watch her and see all the different pictures she had chosen for her palette of yarn. Are any of you guys doing that with your yarns? Winding them up into cakes for that? If you are, give me an idea of some of the artwork that you're choosing. And I wonder what we would use for something like sepia or something like that. Well, don't have any more greens. Yes, I do. Have another green right here. I will be adding that green to it. If I can find the center. And this kind of feels like it might have been a red heart. Well, not going to find the center, so we'll just take it from the outside. And that'll work too. And I will tell you, when I put these cakes together, sometimes I do colors, you know, like greens, purples, whatever. Do the same colors, but sometimes I change them up a little bit. A lot of it is just to get the cakes wound up, to get the balls out of the room. I have been to the point where I think balls are rather a waste of space, and generally they always wind up getting entangled in each other. So I find making them into cakes always works a little bit better. So yeah, that's what I'm choosing to do here, is wind these up into cakes. Cakes will fit into totes a little bit better. That's another reason. I don't wind balls anymore because, like I said, they wind up getting entangled in each other. It's generally a big mess and hard to manage. So, yeah, I tend to stay away from that nowadays. So there we've got another cake in greens. Let me get that label. Slipped away. Just going to put the label in the center so it'll help hold the structure of the cake. And it'll give me an idea of one of the colors at least. Okay. I'm going to move on to a mix here. I think that might be a puzzle yarn. Pretty sure it is a puzzle yarn. If I can find the center. Don't know where it's at. That's always fun too, finding the center. Let me fling it across the room here. That always works for a good amount of fun and joy. So there we go. There's the center of that. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a puzzle yarn. Although the puzzle is considered a bulky yarn, I kind of find it, maybe it isn't. This might be one of the Stitch Studios marled. Now that I'm looking at it, I think it might be a Stitch Studio marled. Yeah, it doesn't bleed into a lot of other colors. It's mostly a bright, kind kind of like a blue with the dusky gray mixed in. So I'm thinking this is probably a Stitch Studio marled yarn. And I probably used it in an afghan or shawl, or maybe a hat and scarf set for the kiddos, who knows. You can see how easily it got tangled up here. That's because it was in a ball. And it was one of those that I had hand wound in a center cake ball type, which doesn't really equate to a cake because I found that they were a little more rounded until I learned how to do that with my hand. And basically I used to use my thumb like an Asta bin and wind up these into center pull cakes, balls, whatever. But I find the cakes sit a little bit easier in totes. And since I do have a lot of my yarn in totes to protect it from dust and from the kittens, so yeah, this was a marled. Okay, this one is finished. I did put together the yarns that I'm going to use for an afghan, those blues, those kind of things. This skein is tourmaline, and apparently I'd started a project that I didn't finish that I now need to rip out so I can cake this up. So let me take the stitch marker out of it. And undo it. This is in the color tourmaline. This is a red heart skein. Apparently I was doing something in the round. Do I know what I was doing in the round? Of course not. And that is the problem when you find projects that you had started and you have no clue what you started, and then you got to take it apart. I'm one of those, I do not like to throw yarn away. Although lately, if I only have a very small snippet, I have been a little brave and thrown some of it away. And I have to tell you, I have a friend who just absolutely gasped when I told her that. She's like, "Oh, you didn't." You? Yes, I did. Can't save every single bit of yarn, although I would like to. But I need to understand that sometimes it just needs to go away. You know, sometimes it's just not worth saving. So I'm learning to throw those yarns away and not be such a stingy gal that wants to save every yarn in the universe. like I was saying before it rudely cut off, I'm getting brave and not deciding that I need to save every yarn in the universe. I can throw some yarn away, so I am starting to do that, and you have no idea how hard that is to do, and I'm learning to do that. I'm even throwing away tails. Normally I would keep those in a bag so I could use it for stuffing, but then I'm like, come on, Jane, you don't do that much amigurumi. Why are you hanging on to it? Throw it away. So yeah, I'm getting braver, wiser. In my old age, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm learning that yes, I can throw away yarn. It's not going to kill me. It's not going, the sun's not going to stop shining if I throw away some yarn. So, but I will say, for the longest time it bothered me because I don't like the thought of waste. And this is acrylic yarn. It's not like it's going to break down in the ecosystem. So, that sort of has bothered me because we know it's not going to break down easily. It's going to take thousands of years. Acrylic is a form of fossil fuels. So, yeah. But there's one thing we know about yarn. Acrylic yarn is very good, long-lasting. It is a sturdy yarn, and it can be used for a lot of things. And the main thing is blankets, keep nice and warm, those kind of things. I am going to mix two of these cakes together. I have one that is, it's a little bit of a shiny, and I don't know what that is, what flavor it is. I'm pretty sure that this one is a Stitch Studio that I'm using in a pale pink. It may not even be called pale pink, but there is that one, and it is starting to fall apart, so I've decided I'm going to wind these two together to make one big cake. I think they can go together. I'm hoping there's not too much. We'll find out, won't we? This is the only thing about when you get to going too fast. Sometimes you get those knots in there and they need to be undone. So I try to watch for that when I'm winding up cakes. Doesn't always work. This is a Knit Picks ball winder that I got for I think it was $15 years ago. I think they're now a little over $20, $25. I'm not positive, but they're great ball winders. I would like to have a Stanwood somewhere, one of the Stanwood big cake ball winders. That is on my wish list. And yeah, I do hope that someday I'm able to get that. But that's in the future, not anytime soon. So I'm just happy with having a ball winder. I have a couple of ball winders. I have that big one that I absolutely love, and it is a tabletop version, and I purchased it off of Etsy from a guy in India. The only thing that I don't like about it is where it has the yarn holder for when you're feeding the yarn through. It has a sharp point on it, and I don't understand why it has a sharp point on it. You don't need the sharp point unless there was a reason, perhaps some of the Indian, as in Asian Indian, maybe there was a reason that they use it, which there's a possibility. You know, you don't always know why someone puts something in their product if you don't ask. And of course, I haven't been able to find this guy. He did quite a bit of sales for quite a while, and then he kind of disappeared. I've seen some other people in his place, but I've not ever contacted them, and I have no idea about their product. I do not know why this is being such a booger today. And sometimes the yarn's a booger. Sometimes it's not the ball winder, sometimes it's the yarn. And this yarn is kind of slippery. Maybe I'll just make one cake out of it because it's being a booger. See how it keeps slipping over the top? Really wish you would stop that. I find it annoying. Well, we're going to take this off and we're going to wind it up on the end the hand way. I can see why it did that. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So no, I'm not going to join those two. So I'm going to move on to something else. I have some white here, and I have some of this red, white, and blue that I'm going to wind up together. If I can get that out of there. And I'm not going to be able to, so we're going to take it from the outside. Let me get the white ready to go. Get that up here onto this. We'll get it going. I have been finding a few more channels that I found rather interesting. Some of them are a little interesting. This is one of those Just Yarns by Premier. Some of them have been a little on the interesting side. They're a little dark. I don't know how else to explain it. You know, kind of like alt knots, you know, which isn't a bad thing. I do enjoy those. I was seeing also there is a group on Facebook, which I didn't realize there was a group, for crocheting crime. So, and I do know that a lot of you guys do love watching the crime shows. I do watch those occasionally. I don't watch them all the time. Most of the time, I do not even have the TV on. Rarely am I watching TV. Then I have the Americana here that I'm going to add into this. And the Americana is a red heart yarn. So do you do any projects? Have you started any of your Christmas projects? I mean, it's July. We're going to be August. Of course, by the time you see this, this is August. So, have any of you started your Christmas projects? And I know that K&K Crochet is already doing their Christmas extravaganza, and they're sharing a lot of ideas for Christmas projects. So, you know, if you don't have any ideas for that, check them out. They've got quite a few great ideas for Christmas projects. And some of these are fairly simple projects that you can make. So, yeah, that's it for today's video. I am going to move on to a different set of cakes and doing a few other things. And just remember, guys, be a little kinder to yourselves, be kinder to one another. I'll see you again soon. Bye.